Part 2 ending of Not at Home. Part 1 down below. She thinks what happened with Dave was so innocent, but mostly, she needs her best friend, and to see her Dave will sometimes be present. I practically broke up with her a few months ago over all of this, and she begged for us to work it out. She knows I won't tolerate much more, so I am not sure why she would risk it. She was at the house where Dave lives until 6 a.m. Yes, he was there. There were a few others there, but he was too. Drinking and meds were taking place. I do not want her to lose her best friend over it, but her friend seems to have a hard time with coming over our house or meeting my partner at a neutral site. I have no doubts she is and would sabotage the relationship. She considers them family, and she has grown close with Dave's young daughters, the youngest of which is close friends with my partner's daughter, 13. Despite my desire for her to have NC with Dave, I did say they can communicate as parents when the kids want to hang out together. I have felt for a long time that I am the safe choice. I do not think she would ever leave me for Dave, because Dave likely would not tolerate her irresponsible siblings or help support her daughter. As I said before, I do not doubt she loves me, but I have been shown many signs that she would not walk through fire for me, and it is why I do not think I could ever marry her. The whole situation is strange. For instance, her best friend and her BF the abuser came by for dinner tonight, and as I was leaving for work, my partner put some leftovers in a tin for me and mentioned she was putting some away for Dave. Maybe I am an idiot, but why would she admit that in front of me if Dave is nothing more than a friend or family member and no longer a threat? Keeping a close eye on things. She was there the other day, helping to set up a trapper's tent. We go into it again after a night of drinking last night. I had to leave to go to work and she stayed out. Dave and that crew were not there, at least. I texted her a couple nasty things. The fallout is she claims she is going to give up drinking and wants us to try a new counselor. I will need to see results to believe them. I'm not ruling out an affair or one in the future. What I am saying is that she has a lot to lose, and Dave would not give her half of what I am, so that is why it would not make sense if she left me outright. She stayed away from Dave for a couple months after I found out, but she was acting very resentful. Well, as I stated earlier, she has quit smoking and drinking, about 10 days in, so there haven't been any wild nights out. Now, she was at Dave's yesterday. Here is the reason. Dave's brother brought his GF, the best friend, a trapper's tent for Christmas. Google it. There was a photo shoot that took place yesterday for the company my partner works for, so it took place in their backyard, and a lot of people outside their friendship circle attended. Later in the evening, the best friend tried to lure my partner back there by inviting her over, which she declined. I still fear the friend will cause problems in the future. I totally understand why some would think she has gotten physical with Dave in the past. However, I have gotten a hold of many things in the past, emails, text messages, phone records, etc., and there is no evidence at all they were ever physical. Of course, that does not excuse her allowing herself to have feelings and a crush for him. I guess once, or if I find evidence that she was physical with him, that would for sure be the last straw for me. A quick update: Dave is out of town, so there was a gathering at that house the other night. I was there along with a bunch of other people, but being there still made me uncomfortable. Fortunately, the partner has not had contact with Dave or been at that house without me since my last post, a few months now. So now this is happening. Some mutual friends of ours invited us over for dinner tomorrow night, so it was to be the mutual friends, married couple, my partner and I, partner's bestie and her partner, Dave's brother. A while after the invite, the mutual friends invited Dave. They do not know about anything that went on last summer, so that is why they invited him. Clearly the bestie is trying to get under my skin by hoping Dave will show up, as in the chat window she said, "Yay, hope Dave can make it." My partner is saying she won't go now and that she's sick of it, constantly having to worry about it, and how it stresses her so much, and how I need to be in her shoes as well to understand. So, it looks like she is refusing to go. The problem here is that Dave is right in the middle of her friend's social circle, even lives with him, and he is her best friend's boyfriend's brother. Spending time with her essentially means spending time with Dave. I never told her to stop seeing her friends. I do not believe in controlling people. I just suggested that it would be best for our relationship if they did not have contact, but they have had contact several times since I found out about what was going on. My mood changes when I find out she has been over there, so she does not want to go, but then makes me feel guilty, so I don't know what to do. Last summer, I had suspicions and discovered via text messages that my partner developed feelings and had a crush on another man who happened to be her best friend's boyfriend's brother. She intentionally left me out of social gathering and spent a fair bit of time with this man without me, including spending the night at his place one night, albeit he lives with several other people. The text I found has her using words and phrases like, "crazy about him," "feeling are way less intense now," "we were hopeless and engaged in the kitchen this morning," etc. After confronting her, the affair seemed to subside, but since this man is in the middle of her best friend's social circle, she has still had some occasional contact with him. Since it has been about 8 months, she is expecting me to just move on. There is no clear evidence that they kissed or had slept together, although many are convinced they did. She of course denies it and has just called it an innocent crush. So here is the latest development. Apparently, my partner's sister, we will call her Karen, wanted to visit for a while and wait out the pandemic. I put sister in quotes since they are sisters because my partner's dad and her foster mom got married. Karen lives in a remote town about 6 hours away. My partner was a bit on the fence about Karen coming since Karen, when single, tends to spend a lot of time partying and sleeping with random men and meeting many people, and bringing that home given what is currently happening is not a good idea. So yesterday, Karen revealed the real reason why she wants to visit. Is it because that Dave reached out to her and asked her to come visit for a few days and spend the night at his place one night? Really, I cannot even remember a time when they met. Okay, so maybe this hammers home the fact that Dave and my partner likely are not still in any romantic contact, but both Dave and Karen are showing absolutely no respect for me or my relationship by doing this, since it essentially creates more drama and keeps Dave in the picture. My partner is upset with Karen since she admitted to trying to repair the relationship with me, and why she would choose to do this with Dave of all of the people available. She did say to Karen that she no longer has feelings for Dave, and that is not why she is upset about this. I mean, for real. My partner's actions have been problematic over the past year, but even more disturbing is how little respect some of the people my partner is close to have shown me. She hasn't mentioned this to me. I overheard her on the phone discussing this situation with her sister sleeping with Dave. Apparently, she is in town now and stayed at Dave's last night. We will see if my partner avoids going over there over the next few days. Her behavior was inappropriate. It's funny, the other day we were chatting and she was talking about cutting people from her life who are bad influences and mentioned the bestie. I don't think she will actually do it, but the bestie must have tried to get my partner to get into a bad situation again. An update: since my last post, the lockdown hit shortly after. My partner and I actually were doing quite well though since we were both working from home for a while, the housework was getting done and we were not butting heads as often. Fast forward to a few months ago when things started opening up here, we began having the same issues again, mainly just not clicking. To be transparent and not getting into too much detail, our physical life tailed off considerably, and part of the problem is that I am on antidepressants that lower my libido. In a recent fight, she complained about my always working from home and how she never has privacy. I'm allowed to go back to work part-time, and she seemed to scoff at the fact our relationship is 50-50. I still feel some resentment from her since I do not split my stepdaughter's expenses with her equally. I admittedly did something I'm not proud of and joined a private Facebook group for men who are going through mental illness. I asked some questions and made some complaints about problems in my relationship. The most recent one was about her starting an argument with me at 7:30 a.m. after I had just finished an overnight shift and couldn't drive her to work. She was growing frustrated at all of the cab money she was spending and wanted me to talk though a solution at that time event though I was tired. Turns out a troll in the group screenshot some of my writing and sent it to her. Long story short, she was deeply hurt and broke up with me. This was 2 weeks ago. I stayed in a hotel for a couple days and have been sleeping in a spare bedroom since. We are getting along for the most part and not having deep convos about everything until she finishes working on a festival she's preparing, which goes off this week. I've been trying to give her space, but she is upset I am not showing more remorse. I apologized tearfully that night, and am not fighting for our family aka her and her daughter. Her big issue is my communication, which I admit is a flaw, but in fairness I think she could work on that area too. In fairness, she has mostly avoided Dave during the pandemic. However, she has been over the house a few times recently, including last night. Apparently, Dave has a new GF now according to her. I started to move on from that, but when October rolled around and the 1-year anniversary hit, some bad feelings came up again. I'm left confused. We have been through so much, and while it may be in my best interest to move on, I can't help but feel a lot of guilt. My therapist suggested the only hope is to carefully map out a plan or go see a professional together, but she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to bring up the past, only accept our flaws and move forward, but I don't see how that can work. She refuses counseling, says that it won't help. When Dave came up recently, she told me I was practically ignoring her, aka I drove her away. To be honest, I really don't recall. I suffer with mental illness and go through periods of depression, so it's possible, but I can say that Mom passed away unexpectedly in early March of last year, and she started showing interest in Dave by June. Obviously, I was not in a good mental state from March into June, so maybe I drive her away, but naturally I had a good reason. She has been pretty emotional the past couple days, and it's allowing me to feel sad for myself, but mostly for her. Thing is, I am not completely sure she is sad about our relationship dissolving, but more about the fact that she will have to go to a reduced lifestyle, as I indicated above. I am pretty sure she is not involved with Dave in any way. She mostly has been staying home. Maybe she is sad about that as well, that her window for getting with Dave has closed since he is with someone else now. She is going out of town for the weekend and made a point to tell me this morning to not bring anyone over the house while she is gone. I'm not seeing anyone else right now. Kind of funny because her and her daughter have friends over the house all the time. Some are people I do not know very well. From what I gathered, it seems she still may want to work it out. What I am struggling with is asking myself the question, does she want to work it out because she truly loves me and values our relationship, or is it because I provide stability for her and her daughter and in some ways, her family? My gut feeling is that it is more of the latter. But then again, does it make sense for someone to stick around just for the security? She knows if she desires Dave again or someone else, I will keep a close eye on her, so it would be hard for her to be unfaithful again. She makes decent money, has a good career and side gig as a musician and artist. She is a successful and well-respected person in the community in many ways. In theory, there is no reason she could not make it on her own. However, she does not drive and has no desire to. While her daughter is a relatively good kid, she is very demanding and spoiled and is very expensive. And she has a needy family with mental health and addictions issues, and they lean on her a lot for emotional support and, I would guess, occasional financial support. And her ex-husband with anger issues. At this point, I don't see how I can go back. Too much damage has been done. I am frustrated with things to the point that I will lash out when I see her daughter's dirty clothes all over the floor and dishes piled in the sink. I would not completely rule out the chance that a family member will try and move in with us again. Plus, with a lot of uncertainty in my professional career, I am looking to relocate sooner than later, and I know that is not ideal for her. Most importantly, can I really go back to someone and put a lot of effort in to make it work, who spent most of last summer having feelings for another man, hiding that from me for months, then admitting to a friend just a few months ago that it broke her heart and crushed her soul when she told him she couldn't see him anymore because I found out. Note, I found the last part out be secretly recording her, so I can't tell her that. She has teased the idea of remaining in the house and having me turn the mortgage payments over her. Of course, I will speak with a lawyer first. I am not opposed to the idea because I am not emotionally attached to the house. I just want to make sure I will be properly protected. Oddly enough, she never came home last night. Hit the bars with her sister, but she wasn't there when I left for work at 7:30. While she will likely not admit it, I'd say she ended up at Dave's last night. She's trying to make me jealous by telling me guys were hitting on her the other night in the bar. I talked to a lawyer and she does not suggest letting her stay there with the mortgage in my name. The only options are if she buys directly from me, assuming she passes a credit check, or we sell and go our separate ways. An update, we are in talks with a lawyer about the house. We will be hit with a large financial penalty if we sell now, but I will likely rent the house to her for a bit with a legal agreement that protects me in every way. I have secured another dwelling for now. I will soon sell the house to her directly once she qualifies, or sell it in general if she violates anything I am asking to be put in writing. This chapter of my life is ending. It's sad, we had many years together, but it's the right decision. There are many factors at play, but I cannot get past her falling for another man and admitted her heart broke when they couldn't see each other anymore. I will not tolerate that ever again. She still is going over Dave's house on occasion, even spent the night again recently. Dave is apparently seeing another woman, but if she was truly remorseful, she would not want to have anything to do with him. This is the right call. And to boot, her slacker brother wants to move in again. Once he provides next to nothing in support, she will truly realize how much I was bringing to the table and will be filled with regret. My comment, ending a relationship obviously isn't easy. I hope all goes well for you. And when she realizes how difficult life is without you, then she'll likely try again. Don't. Story 2. The average heart transplant recipient lives about 10 years on average. I'm 4 years in and doing well so far. My question is kind of strange. Bear with me. I was married for 25 years to a woman who was a wonderful mother to our kids, financially responsible with our money, and an overall decent woman. She never lied to me and was extremely honest. My only complaint was she was not interested in any bonding unless the lights were off, and in missionary position. I was willing to live with that and would have died feeling I had a good marriage. My health struggles started in 2013 and ended up with the heart transplant in 2016. In and out of the hospital over that 3-year period and living with an artificial heart pump until the transplant. To make a long story short, she started cheating on me when I was in the hospital. She had formed a relationship with a man at her gym, and they had been carrying on for about 3 years. The lies were showing up, and I was in limbo for a year before I found out what was going on. When I found out, I felt relief and divorced her 3 years ago. I don't regret that at all. I didn't date much for a couple years, and finally found a woman I felt I could trust and love. She is half Vietnamese. A wonderful woman, very attractive, kind and supportive, honest, and anxious for a relationship. She likes the way I look and is very open physically, which I've never had. She understood my health issues and accepted that she would see me through to the end. Perfect for me, I thought. I was also perfect for her. She came from an abusive relationship, had no money or material things, and her mother passed away a couple years ago, and she is very sad about that. I helped her with things she needed, and she was very appreciative. After about 8 months, I noticed some disturbing signs of jealousy and her need to have everything in her life perfect. She began to get upset when I didn't wash my hands 10 times per day, didn't wear nice shirts to go grocery shopping, and she didn't care for my rescue dog I've had for years because she comes in from outside and I don't wash her feet. I can live with those things and was ready to do that. But she gave me an ultimatum a month ago and told me it was her or my dog. With everything adding up, I told her my dog wasn't going anywhere and she had to understand that. Then she left. I felt I did the right thing. There was no need for an ultimatum. She needed to love the man I am, and not the man she hoped I would become. She wasn't after my money, but I wasn't sure how she would treat it when my final days come. All the decisions in her life were made for her by an abusive husband. When she was angry, she became unreasonable. I honestly think she is bipolar. The most amazing, happy and fun woman one day, and the next she throws things and breaks them on the floor. If I was in my 20 or 30, I wouldn't be willing to put up with those things, but I'm 57 and know I won't live to be an old man. But at my age and in my circumstances, I just need a partner and a lover. I've never been happier in my life than when I was with her. I may live another 20 years, I just don't know. I've never felt the love I feel with any other woman and can't stop thinking about her. Because of my failure in my marriage, I never knew if I would find a woman that I trust to be faithful, could fall in love with again. She was who I hoped to find. Most women aren't looking for a man who has my health issues, enjoys working in the garage, and has a hairy chest. I'll never be on the cover of GQ magazine. But she loved me anyways. My question, should I learn to deal with her issues like she is dealing with mine? Or do I walk away from a volatile relationship and give up the wonderful things I love about her and hope there's another woman out there who checks all those boxes? I feel bad for leaving a woman who's had such a tragic life. I really felt good that I could be a man she's never had before. My parents loved her, and my dog loved her a lot. I do think she has minor mental issues, and I agree that asking me to give up my loyal dog was simply not right. My dog, a pit mix named Kimmy, actually was there for me after my divorce, and she's a very sweet and loving partner. As you suggested, I told my GF that my dog was part of me and needed to be accepted. I'll finish by telling a funny, tragic story. The night everything blew up, my GF cooked a very nice chicken curry dinner for us. We had a nice dinner and decided we needed some ice cream to finish the night. We ran to the store to get it. We left the chicken curry in a pot on the stovetop. While we were gone, Kimmy jumped up on the counter, lifted the lid off the pot, and ate the remaining meal. Chicken curry was strung all over the kitchen. Kimmy had never done that before and it was a surprise for both of us. My GF worked so hard to prepare the meal, and now it was dripping down the cupboard and on the floor. I felt terrible and told her I would take her out to her favorite restaurant when they opened up again. She was okay with that, and things settled down. Watching a movie, and she flipped it off and said we needed to talk. That's when the ultimatum came. The chicken curry incident will go down in history as the straw that broke the camel's back. I also feel bad about laughing at it now, but I think it happened for a reason. It allowed me to see that she was unable to handle a tragic incident. There will be more tragic things that happen in the future, and I don't want to crash her life any more than it is. I've told her that I'm here anytime she needs encouragement or help. I truly did love her. I'll leave it at that, and pray she find a peace in her life. My dog's action that night was unacceptable for sure, but that was very unusual for her. She is normally very well behaved and trained well. She'd never done that before. I can leave food on plates and she knows she can't touch them. I've left things on the counter and stove before, and she's never messed with them. She has a room to herself and goes there when I tell her to. She has a doggy door and goes outside when she needs to. I can explain more, but I wanted to assure you that 90% of her actions are very good. Her only bad habit is barking at the ups man when he comes. That night, she was possessed. Or she just can't stay away from chicken curry. Strange night. At the same time, my GF loved the fact that Kimmy was very protective of her. She wouldn't let anyone near her that was uninvited. My GF was a tiny woman, and I was proud of the fact that Kimmy would be a good guard dog for her when I traveled for business. No worries, my dog is not going anywhere. After 25 years with a wife at home and 3 wonderful kids, after the divorce I was all alone. I bought a house for my last son, and he moved out. I sold my house I built and raised my kids in to downsize and take control of my time. I got Kimmy from a rescue shelter, and she's been my partner for the last 3 years. She was 2 when I got her, and she had been abused. It took me about 6 months to get her comfortable with me, and now she sleeps at my feel when I'm working. The value I have in her is not something I would ever give up for anyone, and anyone who asks me to do that is not someone for me. My GF's anger issue has been described as a form of post-traumatic stress disorder. Her life has been hell, years of abuse, the death of her parents recently, and 2 dying siblings. She sees a therapist, and that is his diagnosis. For a while, I felt needed because I knew how to calm her down, and I was rewarded in many ways when I did. She honestly needs a man who will bow down to her, sing her soft songs, and apologize when he sneezes. Not a man who drag races, restores cars, and forgets to say I love you every day. That's me, just not a good match from the foundation. My dog is normally well-trained and well-behaved. And I'm sorry, but I thought it was funny when she left footprints in chicken curry on the counter and stovetop. I purchased 2 little devices that activate when the beam is crossed and shoots out a puff of air with a beep. $29 x2, and now Kimmy won't even get close to the kitchen. The trouble I'm having is to stop thinking of all the wonderful things my GF afforded me. She was the perfect partner in many ways, taking me to the hospital when I need her to. She rents a room from her aunt and loves staying at my house. She is smiley and bubbly almost every day, and the affection she shows is something I need really bad. She likes going to the races and loves rides on my motorcycle. Her skin is like a teenager's, and she is really beautiful. She dresses nice and smells wonderful. I doubt I will ever find those things in another. The other thing I like about her is her appreciation for me helping her in many ways. She struggles at her job and is stressed by her boss, hates where she lives, and I help her stand up when she needs to. Maybe strange, but that's something I really like doing. 90% wonderful and 10% disaster. The 10% are serious issues, and I agree that I shouldn't have to put up with it. But part of me feels I should compromise the 10% to get the 90%. No compromise on my dog, but other things. The ratios are amounts of time she is one way or the other. My dog will always be with me, no question. If she could get control of her instant anger issue, both Kimmy and I would have a very good partner. I actually don't trust her in her anger. Very sweet one day and off her rocker the next. She's broken things when she's upset, and truthfully my fear of it getting worse is there. She is begging to get back with me, and I feel bad that I'm not willing. If I could just have her as a girlfriend to do fun things with, I would be happy. But she wants to move in and talk about marriage. I tried the long, heartfelt communications with her, but she just starts crying and apologizing. I've set the boundaries and she's agreed with them, but then it only lasts a few weeks. If I could trust her anger, get her to accept my dog, with some changes I would need to make, get her to stop saying I'm hurting her emotionally. Because I couldn't have been nicer throughout, I would really be serious about forming a strong, lasting relationship with her. I'm not there, so I think I'll just have to turn her sweet requests down. I've offered to get her counseling or therapy to work out her troubled mind, but she refuses that, and doesn't think she needs it. I do. I've decided to disappear for a couple months, showing her that I won't put up with any of her nonsense. I don't want to hurt her, but only when she knows I'm truly willing to walk away. Maybe she will reevaluate what's truly important for her. After the months, if she still wants to try again, I will ask that we, both of us, go to counseling of some sorts to work out true expectations for both sides. I'm willing to make improvements in myself, for her, but there will never come a time where I will kill my dog for anyone. If she doesn't come back, I'll consider myself lucky to have gone through this, and just live my life for myself. There won't be another woman who will accept my medical condition, and want to form the relationship with me like my GF, and that will be okay. Update, as many have said, my ex-GF continued to try to contact me. I didn't respond over a 3-month period, but about 2 months ago, I finally met with her again for dinner. She sincerely apologized and asked if we could try again. I agreed but made it very clear what I would accept and what I wouldn't. We went on a few dates, and she was the happy, upbeat woman I've loved. About a month ago, she began spending time at my house with me and my dog, Kimmy. She actively went to work training her with some pretty important behavior modifications. Long story short, she loves Kimmy now, and I haven't seen any signs of anything different, like I saw before. I took a head-on approach and told her I would not marry her. She is fine, for now, accepting that as long as we spend time together. I appreciate and enjoy that. Her 90% perfect for me is now much higher. There's still a small percentage of things I have to deal with. She feels jealous when I want to spend time with female friends of mine. I just invite her to come along and she shows her wonderful side to them, which makes me proud. I've learned to stop accepting unacceptable behavior and am outspoken when she gets in a bad mood. That's helped a lot. Before, I would keep my mouth shut and just learn to accept it. No longer. To make a long story short, I'm not convinced that her new attitude will last, but I'm willing to find out. She, no doubt, knows that if it doesn't, I'll send her away. Almost a year later, a wonderful and tough relationship is coming to an end. I'm 58 and she's 48. We've been on and off for the last 3 years, engaged for the last 5 months. When she's in a good mood, she's an angel. When she's not, she's mean and vindictive. She, fiancé, has decided that she can't take any more of me. Not sure why, but she deceived me during the first 2 years of dating, continuing to email and text with previous boyfriend, lover, and when I found out about it and confronted her, she blew a fuse. Since then, she has decided she can't stay here in the house and needs to go elsewhere, cousin's house. She started packing her things and boxing them up to leave. She told me it was over. For 6 months, I've paid all her bills, car, insurance, phone, etc. I've purchased almost anything she's needed, wanted. 6 months ago, she was having troubles with her aunt, where she lived, and her work that was causing her shoulder and arm to cramp up. I offered to take over paying for her monthly expense and told her I didn't like her to be under that stress. She moved in, and I took over caring for her. Mind, body, pocketbook, and soul. Now as she's decided to leave, she's demanding that I continue to pay her bills. She now blames me for her loss of work and loss of the room at her aunt's house. She feels I owe that to her. I agreed to pay for 3 months more and told her that would give her some time to find work and find an apartment. I also told her she could leave her stuff here in my house until she needed it in her new place. I feel that since she's decided to leave me, it's her responsibility to take her life over herself in month 4. She's mad at me for saying that. She has an unusual sense of what I'm expected to do. My comment, paying 3 months was extremely generous of you. I wouldn't have. She's a grown-ass adult. Do not let her keep anything at your house. Depending on where you live, that could give her tenancy rights and allow her to come back whether you like it or not, and then you'd be forced to evict her. Having her things at your house also leaves you in contact with her when you need to go no contact at all. In order to heal and move on, tell her to get a storage unit or take her crap with her, but it's not staying with you. If she gets uppity, tell her you are paying her bills for 3 more months is extremely generous, and that you can and will revoke that offer if she doesn't cooperate.